Welcome to episode number 168 of the Savvy Social Podcast. This show is dedicated to helping passion-led online business owners and social media managers learn how to use social media as a tool to grow your business. I'm your host, ANDREA Jones, and I'm fiercely committed to helping you understand both the how and the why of social media marketing so that you can create connection, build community, and make your difference in the world. And I'm super excited to have my friend Lanie on the show today, who I'll bring up in a moment. But if you are new here, welcome. I do encourage you to download our free course. You can find it by going to OnlineDrea.com/free. And it is so transformative to giving you a foundation of building a social media strategy that you'll actually stick with, the kind of social media strategy that you can actually implement today. So head on over to that free course, OnlineDrea.com/free. And we've got some goodies for you in there, some free captions, some Canva templates, just to get you going fast now. That's OnlineDrea.com/free. Now, today's guest, as I mentioned, I'm super excited to bring my friend Lanie Lamarre on the show today. Lanie is the host of the Oh My Growth podcast, and she loves talking all things dashboards and workflows, really helping online bosses tap into their Oh My Growth moments. Her favorite topics include Airtable, and y'all, I've learned all of my Airtable knowledge from Lanie, which you know if you're in this school. And she's really all about conversion rates and also what song to play next on your jukebox. So having fun in there as well. With that, Lanie, welcome to the show.
Hi.
I'm so excited to talk with you today because I feel like you have literally changed how I run my business with your introduction of Airtable to me. But just to give some backstory to you and your approach, for those of you who don't know you, talk to me about how you got into this world. How did you build your business?
Wow. It feels like it's like so long ago. I don't even know. A lot of people have their anniversaries. I don't have one of those. I should probably figure it out. But when I joined the online world, it was all about workflows. It was about helping people really put the pieces in place that they needed for the systems and the processes that they're running in their business. So trying to make things run smooth as butter, if you will. Just being able, sometimes peanut butter, sometimes crunchy peanut butter, because, sometimes automations fail and things like that. But really being able to map out the process of the things that should happen when you're doing something in your business. So whether that's client onboarding, where they fill out a form and then they get that automatic email that's sent to them acknowledging that you received the form and the quotes and all the things that have to go out, all those pieces that you have to account for, just creating that visual representation of the steps that happen with that. Or maybe you're putting in place an email sequence and you really need to see which email goes out when, based on which tags, and all the things that get very complicated when they're just sitting in your brain. But when you draw them out, suddenly it's just way more accessible. And so that's where I got started. And I offered services, and I was working one-on-one with people. And I really realized quite quickly that a big problem with putting processes in place was that suddenly projects maybe weren't managed as well because you think all the automations are going to take care of it. So I found that gap in a lot of the clients that I was working with to follow up with them. And so I got on the I don't want to say Airtable bandwagon because there's no bandwagon at the time. I was trying to find resources about Airtable at that time, and there really weren't any out there. So I just got very knowledgeable with Airtable, and I created my own resource with a very robust course at this point, which is still running and is still out there, and I still update every year. And then you notice the other problem that happens with business owners is that once they have their processes in place and they're better with their project management and keeping track of all the things that are moving, you need to see the results of what's happening with all those efforts that you're putting out there. So I dug deeper into data and dashboards and being able to show people what the results from all that work that they put in, whether it's the marketing strategies that they were planning in Airtable and they have their process maps for, and being able to see what the outcome is for that with data and dashboards. So that's sort of my how do you call it, the TLDR of the last few years, maybe 5, 6 years of online business, going from workflows to project management and Airtable, and finally into dashboards, so you can see what the rewards are for all your efforts that you're putting out there.
Yes, and I really like how you have this end-to-end solution for business owners because honestly, we don't want to think about these things sometimes. We kind of want it to work, but we have to think about these things in order for it to work and to kind of understand how it's all working. So I like that you've put that together. For those business owners who don't have a workflow, not even thinking about a dashboard, how do we get started with kind of building out some of these components? Because if we're manually doing all of these things and then we decide that we want to automate it, it sometimes can be hard to know like where to start first. So do you have any tips for us?
Like the back of a cocktail napkin is as complicated as you need to get started with these sorts of things. Honestly, like just grab a pen and a paper and map out what you would like to see happen. And it doesn't have to be all the pieces. It doesn't have to be very robust. It can just be, I want people to see my offer, and then I want them to have a way to sign up for my offer. And then I want them to get an email, or like whatever it is that you want. Just start mapping it out without having to think of everything that's going to be integrated into it, because you will build on this. Just like you will build your business, you're not starting with where you're going to end up. Everything's going to be a work in progress. So just start with something, something that you can look at, that you can get information from and be able to feel like you can take action off of. Because when you start growing a team, for instance, or even if you don't want to grow a team, you just have one assistant, for instance, or even if you just hire someone for a VIP day to help you put those processes in place in a more robust, automated fashion, at least you have that visual representation of what is happening in your brain, or what you want to see happen in real life that's happening in your brain, and being able to show that to the person with whom you're working, that expert in that field, to be able to be like, oh, yeah, I see what you're thinking. These are the things you're going to have to put in place, or these are the systems, or the tools, or the magic that makes all of these things come together that you might not actually know about as the CEO, as the person who's running your business and doing all the other things that are actually, bringing in money. But having somebody else who actually knows how all those things work and how those pieces get brought together is going to be a lot easier when you just have a little bit of something on paper. And they're going to put more on paper so that you can build out your systems further.
Yes, and I love that you started with the idea of just drawing it on the cocktail napkin because I think sometimes we jump right into the tool. I felt this way when I started using Dubsado, which I love and I use today. But when I first started using it, I just didn't even know where to start. And so starting with just literally writing it down. Somebody starts here, then they fill out this form, then I need to send them this, this, and this is so helpful for building out a workflow like that. Now, as
Absolutely.
we Yes. And as we start building out these workflows, you talked about measuring the success using a dashboard. Do you have any tools that you recommend for this, or what's the process for kind of getting started with dashboards?
So, the easiest way to get started, first of all, you want to make sure that you have Google Analytics tracking on your website. Make sure that you have that. That's really like your biggest responsibility as a business owner, an online business owner, to make sure that you're tracking how people are behaving on your website. And then I know that Google Analytics is a lot. Like you go into there and it's just like, oh my God, all these forms that you start digging around. You're like, wow, this is interesting. And you dig deeper and deeper. And then 2 hours later have gone by and you have all this interesting information that you don't know what to do with. Like you don't have any actionable insights on this. So that's why I like dashboards, because once you have Google Analytics installed on your website, you can use dashboards hosted by Google Data Studio. This is a free tool available to anyone with a Google account. So you do have a Google account if you have a Google Analytics account, and it just taps directly into your Google Analytics account so that you can really focus on the information that you want to see. So people who are in your realm, Andrea, who want to see how like social media is performing, you can just build a dashboard. In fact, you don't even have to build them. They have them inherently in data studio. You can just use one of their templates and start to tweak it to what would be informative to you. But being able to see, how that Facebook traffic is performing or that Instagram traffic is performing so that you can really go into it being like, oh, this is how I'm going to form my next campaigns based on how this last one performed because I can see what the results are in a very focused way.
Now, when you say performing, what metrics are you talking about? Are you talking about like the time on the page or where they went next? Or what are some of the things that we can look at as an indicator of how that traffic is performing?
It's totally a very big, big pants CEO decision because it's going to be unique to how you're marketing yourself. To what outcomes do you want to see? Someone who is, let's say, you're monetizing your business from your YouTube videos, and the longer somebody stays on your YouTube video, the more you can monetize your YouTube videos, and you're hosting those videos on your website, for instance. Yeah, at that point, you're going to care what the time spent on those videos are. That's like a key metric for you. But time spent on a page might not be a key metric for someone who is maybe selling, I don't know, like a low price digital course or something like that, where you have a very short, how do you call a short landing page, like a sales page, and it people usually won't spend more than a minute, let's say, reading it. Well, you might not care as much how much time they're spending on there if you have that 2-minute timer. You want them to just sort of click through on something. You really want to ask yourself, what is the outcome that I'm looking for? So for that landing page where you want someone to click through to the next page, you want them to be able to see like more pages per session. That's going to be something that you're going to care about. When somebody lands onto your website to see that flash promotion sale, you want them to click through. So those number of pages is going to be way more important than how much time someone is spending. So you really want to think, how am I marketing myself? What is actually going to be the success indicator for me? What am I looking for? And being able to tune yourself into what those results are.
Okay. Oh my gosh, I love this. I hope y'all who are listening are taking notes because there's some great questions in here to ask yourself and how to interpret this data. And it does depend on your business. It depends on your business, your outcome, your goals. And so hopefully these questions kind of start your brain going a little bit for how to track all of this data. Okay, so I want to talk about this event that you're hosting that I'm speaking at because I think there's so much value here for our listeners, and it's the perfect time. We're preparing for the next year, we're thinking about the end of this year. It's a perfect time to start building out some of these workflows. So, talk to us about the Oh My Growth live event.
It was one of those things where, so I took some time off over the summer, and I hope a bunch of you all have as well. But like 2021 kind of and 2020, the whole combination of the time has run a bit of a muck on me where I'm just like, I need to take a step back and reevaluate what what I value, what is important to me, and what my audience gets value out of. And I kind of let the workflow stuff go a little bit over the years. And I just want to tap back into it. And I know a lot of really brilliant business owners who have really brilliant marketing strategies to share, some of which I didn't know a lot about and I wanted to know more about. So it was a little bit selfish too. But I wanted to take their knowledge and put it in a workshop format, not the presentations that you sort of typically see at events where they show you what a marketing strategy is or what that specific marketing strategy is, but actually like delve into it like a workshop style. I want to take action. I want to be able to see results. I want to be able to implement something after you teach me something. And I wanted to put workflows to each one of these workshops so that once the workshop is over, you know the steps that go along to implementing this strategy and being able to do that. So it's, I believe maybe the technical term is a passion project. It was just something that I really wanted to put out there that I thought was a little bit different than what you typically see of these free events that you can attend. Where you can learn something that you will see results from and that you have something that you can follow along with, as opposed to just being like overwhelm of information, which there's plenty of out there already. So that's
Yeah.
what Oh My Growth Live is all about.
Yes, and I'm so excited about the implementation piece because you're right. There are so many resources available where we watch it, we listen to it, we go, that's nice, and then we don't do anything. So I think the difference with this one is that we can actually implement it. When is this event happening?
We're going live on October 5th. So the idea is to register before that. So you get started when we get started on October 5th, because you have 24-hour access to the presentations for each day. Day one is based on growing what you've got. So the things that are already showing you results, or things that you already have in place that you want to see better results from. You want to improve on the things that are already bringing something in for you, or that you've already invested your time and energy into. That's what day one is focused on. And then day two is focused on new strategies, bring in new things that you've been thinking about implementing, marketing strategies that you've heard about, or that are going to require some more in-depth putting all these things into place. Things like, we're talking like funnels and uh, there's quiz funnels. We've got some evergreen funnels. There's private podcasts, things like that, that you would have to be sort of starting a whole new thing with. So we've got each of those available for 24 hours. And the workflows that accompany them are live while each of the presentations are live. So if you're there live, you get the presentations or the workflows that accompany that presentation. And I'll be live in the chat as well. So if you need any help or you have any questions and things like that, you just got to raise your hand, and I'm more than happy to guide you through stuff.
Oh my gosh, this is so much value. Is all of this free?
Yeah, absolutely.
What? Okay, y'all. Go to this link right now. I'm gonna put it in the show notes of this show. You can find it at onlinedrea.com/168 and sign up for free through my link because this is going to be such an amazing event. There's so much goodness, so much goodness. And if you can't watch it live, there is an option to just purchase it, correct?
Correct. You can purchase it. We'll get the workbook and the workflows, and there'll be some bonus trainings to help you see how you can track some of these marketing strategies to make sure that you are tracking the return on investment that you're getting for all the effort that you're putting at the front. And also, we have some dashboards thrown into there as well, so that you can see the results, like literally visualize how these marketing strategies are performing for you. And we have a private podcast feed too. I'm telling you, some of these things I was a little selfish with because I wanted to learn some of this stuff myself. And I was able to implement putting this private podcast in for the All Access Pass holders because, hey, I'm learning too.
Yes, I love it. I've been all about private podcasts lately. We just made one for the Savvy Social School as well, which is just so fun. So it's just so great because you get the information that you need on the go instead of having to be in front of your desk
I love it
24/7.
so much. I listen to so many podcasts, and the idea of having a private podcast, like you feel like the exclusivity factor of it, right? You feel like, oh, I'm getting a little bit extra without it being like a gross spammy stuff. Is really great. I love private podcasts.
Yes. Okay. So if you're into everything we're talking about, go to the link in the show notes, onlinedrea.com/168, and sign up for this free event. If you're listening to this in the future, we'll update the events for future events because I feel like this is going to happen again. But if you're listening to this now, prior to October 5th, 2021, sign up for that link. You won't regret it. Lanie, thank you so much for being on the show today. This was such a great episode.
I always have fun with you, just for the record. We always have a good time, especially when we're nerding out over biz related stuff, but also, side stuff as well. So I look forward to connecting with you again.
Yes, I love it too. The numbers, the data of it all. Thank you so much, Lanie. And thank you, dear listener, for joining us on the show today. It's because of your support that we have remained at the top 100 marketing podcasts in the US, Canada, Australia, UK, all the places. So thank you so much for listening to the show. If you haven't yet, go ahead and hit that follow button on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Stay updated for our upcoming episodes. We do have another episode coming at you next week. Rebecca Simon is coming on the show. We have more goodness coming there. But for now, I'll see you at Oh My Growth Live. And with that, bye for now.